Verholion space 5, Caliban X, or 10. Monster. Once, I wrote a short response piece at a summer youth camp called Macular Degeneration, which was about an old dying white man's dead mother. 1. Unpublished, it, in fact, is in a box somewhere stored on a 3x5 floppy disk someplace and can only be accessed by a computer that refuses to decompose in some landfill. I ended up going home with him somewhere in Connecticut and always next to some giant freshwater pond, but before we got to all the air, I thought if he wanted, he could shoot me in the head and push me out of this big car on whatever stretch of highway we were on. At some point in the night, he told me his mother lost her ability to see straight forward, hence her macular degeneration, which developed further until she died. I love thinking of her growing peripheral and permanent in sight. I can't make the direct connection between that and the poetic suggested in a note Mendy gave me about the fun in turning out the parenthetical into a, which occurs sort of like the curve into a waist. Even though I aspire towards that particular hiplessness, no waist and a single line for everything I do. 2. Of course, I prefer no curves at all, unless they be this angle, the cryptographic slant into figurative space, is towards the poetics of internal excess. How I refuse to comment other than by cryptographic gesture or by yet another sentence. But I would kill to be Kate Moss, Rory Abernathy, and especially James King, who used to be Jamie King, or is now James King, but once Jamie King. I was thinking earlier today about certainty. I was reading XX the other day and got XX. If I am XX, I'll be seen as XX. And then my XX of a life will matter to XX. Now figuring that out gets unduly complicated by, but I am an XX who chooses to ride in his XX, and that XX is loved by XXXX, and maybe by YY and big YY, who all love me. Further, they made me XX, but never YY, only some perverse version of our XY fantasy, which is always a matter of race, which is, after all, a bibliographical construction of being celebrated as the ever-recognizable me in the print, but not in space. Mowed down the mode. So, being pushed out of a moving car in the middle of nowhere means much more if there's not a bullet lodged in my brain, or it means even more so if the bullet passes through the head. Maybe it wouldn't hurt as much as I hit the highway. More directly, maybe the role of the victim might be either less interesting sans bullet, or as the living it rolls about out of control, 65 miles per hour or faster. It was dark, I was drunk, I deserved him then. I suppose what I'm getting at is that I find my mother's very frustrating to deal with. She is the one who's so out of control. Carmelina was 35 minutes late to her meeting with the editor. She said that she was intentionally late because she thought she should arrive in style, which for her means not hungry. She stopped into some chocolate shop and bought a pound of truffles or something and ate half and was sugar rushed. She said, "Ronaldo, I felt sensual." By that time, the editor was pissed, but was eased over by the other half-pound of chocolate my mother offered him, all boxed and untouched. Despite her kindness and thoughtfulness, the editor was not willing to accept the direction or of her current draft. The main question, as she explained it to me, and this, I think, was a problem not with the writing but his verb, was and is, how can Peter Bausch use a walrus as a vehicle for one's black suffrage? How does a walrus crawling across the stage equal the pure pain involved in psychic castration? Well, to me it seems so simple. Race is all made up. None of it exists. The language, the voice, the stance, the delivery, the celebration, the connery, the cytoplasm, the coins that have my head on them, the cat, the rememory, the whole big lot. But the pain is as evident as all these silly terms we make up for our salvation. CXX. But of course, this sightline XX gets exposed. XX sees is not binocular, but macular, not direct, nor does it assume any direction other than the one suggested in turning the parenthetical out, which is about recreating a space for extra-communal discourse. I say communicable, right? That too. To me, this is simply freeing. But then, as it seems, the big XX is one tough motherfucker to bypass. See, XX wants that obscene part of the little XX, not the fat, F-A-T, but the fat. Not the back, but the black. Not the spoon is shank, but the nook, nook, nooga as in XXX, which is such a horrid wall to be against. Lordy knows, I wish I could be a better performer. I was thinking about, this is the third footnote, I was thinking about going to read G. Brooks's The Wall for a more fair and open analysis, but I had to get to class uptown where I took the 2 train to 110th Street, which left me outside in Harlem instead of at Columbia, on the other side of the world. Something was wrong there. In Harlem, bodies were out in the sun near buildings of great brick. They were sunning, relaxed, chatting, driving ID caps. There were no subhumans in sight, and I did not realize what was wrong until I detoured back with my $63 Metro card into the subway, only to rewind out onto Broadway. Those were the good days. I ran into a familiar teeming stream of work, fruit sorting blacks near Labyrinth, books where I bought Fanon's Black Skin White Mask, and a book on performance poetics edited by Charles Bernstein, and another book starring Fred Douglass and Ida B. Wells. But more importantly, I cried on the train while reading about Beebe, the dead slave boy, guiding Harriet's nymphish follower to freedom, and Faith Ringgold's Aunt Harriet's Underground Railroad in the sky. Sadly, and yours until the end, for Helio. The lesson, I was not born to be forced. Henry Thoreau. I'm a prisoner with the others. Tom Slay. Does it begin by force to transcend thatches of skin, one face like another, cliniqued and carbunkled with slacks, transfix the great heart? Art is equal to blood, is equal to the savage that you aren't. In the abyss you sing, I am clear, I am all parts of the whole, I am the whole, where do you fit? Do you never want to break out dancing in the middle of a crowded room? Or is the organic you a fine wisp, a god of good hair, a saint shot out to space? When the wind pushes against my house and it feels like it might fall into itself, I am a card house. On real TV in a suburb, caught on video, white teens sledgehammer the toilets and tubs of a friend. In the trail of boric acid I lay out for the roaches, do the vermin know bleach, flower, they are about to be killed. How do you know by force or equation, a chasm, a magnet, a soul, or by what word is beauty? Begin with being a bore, or being bored through a market, the surprise each time in being called sup. Side B, aesthetic theory, your skin is pink, then opaque, caramelized and burned, if you are one of the drumsticks stuffed in a bowl as in Holocaust. New York Times, East Timor, a blown apart leg unskinned, a shoe sole ripped back to bone, synonym for torso in a soccer shirt. This is ours. We are pickled, you and me, with this strange leg. Should I turn the chicken over? Seer life is Skrinick. Think collage, ethnograph. He is your brown body. By Chanel, Egoiste, a black border. When I turn the page, crack the bone and scrape out the marrow from marinating. You do not fall from the sky en route to Paris, but die in the flash flood mud with the others. Salamanders royal, the silverbacks peep out of their jungle. Finally, the deserved, your body laid without a listerine and a living mouth. How to love the wisp of your face, the not watching out, the knowing and being clear and white. Not on the margin, nor pushed out on smack on safari. I am an ellipsis. I do not come in peace for the flesh that stinks of the heart and bone you've devoured. Transcend, I am a face ready to cut into you, stalagmites by fist. Think of razors, think of obsidian, think of how and where we begin. Thank you so much.